The Bathroom Break podcast allows me to sit down and have conversations with artists, musicians, actors, athletes, and anybody who has the ability to inspire. Hey, what's up, everybody? This week on the Bathroom Break podcast, my guest is professional skateboarder and artist Mike Maldonado, the East Coast powerhouse. And longtime friend. It was so rad to sit down and have a conversation with him. Check out some of his new artwork at Artisan Alley and Market on Instagram and Artisan Alley and Market store in Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Check it out. What's up, dude?
Not much, man.
Dude, it's good to see you. And
well.
we got to go out the other day and snowboard. That was rad.
Yeah, it was fun.
And then I saw some videos of y'all right after I left, like hitting that wall ride and all that stuff. I was like, damn, that's crazy. You know, I was like, glad I got out of there in time because I wasn't trying to do anything like that. But that's wild, man, that you're still ripping like that at this point, you know, and it's awesome to see it, you know. Going out with our buddy Johnny and stuff and just cruising down the hill, it was like, damn, Mike's smoking, he's flying down there and just hitting little jumps and stuff. And it's just you know, you always got that same style that you always had, and it's rad to see it.
Keep that mentality, you know what I mean? I still feel the same, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know,
well, you look the same, so you do. You're in good shape, and you know, and all
thanks.
that stuff.
I just try to keep it, you know. I still feel like I'm in my 20s, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not, but
yeah, like when you wake up in the morning, it's like maybe don't feel that way, but
that's that same mentality. Like, I can't picture myself not, you know, jumping down shit or like hitting certain speeds and shit like that. You know what I mean? And it's just, you know.
No, that's rad. I mean, it's amazing that you still have that. I remember it was. I have this memory. It was kind of right after Ryan passed. I was in town and I was walking and I saw you come by and like ollie this chain, like it was like a chain like going across the parking lot. You ollied over it and I was like, God damn, he still has it. Like, he still got like that pop like that. It was wild to see that at that point. And, you know, just because we're getting older and stuff, but it's like, damn, you still got it. You still have that.
You know, I'm of the mentality of like when you stop moving in the same sense, like you start to feel it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's plenty of people that are my age and like, or even younger. When I'm at the skate park, I hear dudes like, I'm too old for this. Fucking 33. Like, the fuck? Like,
you're like, bro,
I'm fucking 50. Like, what the fuck's wrong with y'all?
Yeah, seriously. But it is a mentality though. I mean, that's serious because I realized that too for myself. Like, there was one point, you know, probably about 4 years ago, I was 40 pounds heavier. I was out of shape. I was like, and I had a child, and I was bringing her up the steps, and I was all out of breath. And I was like, oh, dude, what the hell? You know, I can't be like this out of shape this early. And at that point, I was like 42, and it was like, but I felt like an old man because I had just not been exercising, not eating right, not doing that stuff. And then it was like, dude, it was a mentality, and I changed that.
Yeah.
And then I got into it and started running. I started running marathons and just started getting like
sick
into it, you know. And then now I'm like, I feel younger now than then.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I believe what you're saying, man. It's like it is a mentality just to stay with it and keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool, man. I was telling you, like, before we got on here, just for nostalgic sake, I was watching some old Toy Machine stuff and Jump Off a Building and Welcome to Hell and those parts that you had and that was like just insane and so cool because now when I was looking at it, like, I'm older than you were then, but you've always been older than me.
Yeah.
So I've always seen you like a big brother, older person like that. And then it was like, oh shit, he looked young as hell right there. You know, like, you know, it's just cool. But you were so old to me then when you were doing it. Yep. And it was like, in, I guess 96 or whatever was Welcome to Hell. And it was like, or maybe 95, 94, somewhere, and those parts, like some of the parts are obviously built over time, but just seeing that and being like, damn, you were young as hell right there, you know, and just killing it. And it kind of got me thinking, like, I wanted to hear more of your story. You know, obviously I've known you a long time, but what I find from just sitting down is like, damn, I don't think I really knew like the beginning part of your story from skateboarding. Like, how, like, what got you into it? Like, when did you get your first board? Who, like, what did that? You know, like, what made you psyched on it?
Oh, it's funny because most times when I do any kind of interviews, it's always the same story. Like, so it's not like, oh, I'm telling the same thing all over, but I mean, it's kind of the same. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can't change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's was somehow it was kind of weird. Like the timing was, it was around that whole when extreme sports weren't really extreme sports. It was just kind of like alternative, like whatever.
Dan Cortez.
Yeah, like weird
that?
shit. So like I started watching, like I think it was Rad came out like for biking.
Yeah, we
So
were
it was
just
this
talking
kinda,
about that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like that whole like, yo, riding a bike sick, and these dudes like look at these crazy colors. You know, the '80s were like, these pinks and blues,
like Bart
and these
Taylor
neon
was killing
greens
it.
and everything. Yeah. So it was like, I watched that and I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna ride bikes. I'm gonna do all this, and then somehow, I don't even know. Nobody I knew had told me about it. Just came across this movie Thrashing, Josh Brolin and whatever. And, dude, it was so sick. Like I was like, this is what I want to do. Like skateboarding is the shit. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, that movie is so corny and like, it's whatever. But
Everything was
dude,
corny back then.
Fuck, like that movie was, it was sick as fuck. And like that was skateboarding to me. Like I was like, this is the shit. Like this is kind of like where I want to be in life. Like this is like the coolest thing ever.
That's amazing. It's so funny too, because like I haven't seen that whole movie, but I've seen clips of like Josh Brolin, and he's like, to me, I've always seen him as like this like pretty buff guy. Yeah. So him with a skateboard like always just contradicted to me like the skater, but it's funny, man. That's funny that's what kind of set you onto it. Yeah. And then what? You just like what was your like? Because I think I had like a Veriflex. It was like the first piece of crap board that you had, and then I finally got like a better board. But what did you end up having?
No, my first board was like cheap shit. Like,
yeah.
I think my dad had got me some fucking guy who was selling skateboards out of his like truck or something. Like some like, one of those like. I don't know how the deal was. Like he fucking stole them or something. Some hot merchandise. Yeah, I got the skateboard for $25. Fucking hands off. Like hands off. Like what the fuck is this cheap shit?
Hands off. That's awesome. Is that what it was? That was the brand. That's hilarious.
Fucking, I rode that shit fucking for a long time, and that was just it, man.
Yeah, because I think I was trying to think. It was like Nash. There was those boards.
Yeah, Nash and Veriflex. Like those were like the cheap brands, but if you had one, it was like, dude, I got a Nash, man. Like, I got a Veriflex.
I got
a hands off, bro. Fuck is a hands off? I had the like cheap version.
I was like, you're getting shit on by the dudes that had the cheap ones.
Yeah, right. So.
That's hilarious, man. That just changed. But I mean, like, so then when you got that, it just kind of led to like, all right, you're cruising around, but then you started realizing like. I mean, did the interest from the movie start leading into like Pal Peralta? Like, what was
like, like you meet more people around the neighborhoods and shit, and like this guy's got that dude fucking got this skate video called Animal Chin, Search for Animal Chin. Like what the fuck? Like what is that? Like there's a Pal video, so check that out. I'm like holy shit, like this is a whole new level, like. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, what is this shit? Because it went from, watching Thrashing and being like, oh, they're doing tricks, but like we couldn't do any of that shit. Like, we were just like riding down hills and like learning how to ride, pretty much whatever. And cheap ass boneless tricks and like whatever, But then you see all this other like, oh, damn, they're like kick flipping and 360s off jump ramps, and they're actually riding those big vert ramps and doing real crazy shit. It's not the, whatever it was in the movie, it's fucking LA Massacre, bombing hills and shit, like really doing stuff. So that became like the next thing, and then, run into this dude that could ollie, and like, oh, these guys are ollieing over skateboards, and like, how the hell do you keep your feet on the board and what? This is crazy shit.
It's wild for me to think about you at that beginning stage of it, because just think obviously where you went to with skateboarding, and then and I think about it with BAM because obviously like that's how I met you. But when we were young, we met in like first grade, and at that point it was like 86, 87. So we both had skateboards. I had a Caballero and he had the Tony Hawk board, and he was always drawing like the like hawk like skull.
Yeah.
And that's like when we met, and we always joke because like when we met, it was like, oh, you got a bowl cut, I got a bowl cut too, you know, and that's how we became friends or whatever. But I remember at that time it was funny, and like the memory I have with Bam was when we were skating, like I could ollie straight, but he couldn't ollie straight. Like all he could do was a 180 ollie.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's harder, dude.
Yeah,
like,
most people when they start, it's like a 180 for some reason.
Yeah,
like,
and he would do the 180 ollie. I'm like, and he's like, how do you do it like that? I'm like, that's what you're doing is harder than what I'm doing, you know. And
it's like an ollie plus.
Yeah, you know. But it was funny to realize that at that very early age and think about that, and then obviously where he took it too, and but just to think about you in that, because I met you later. I think we were a little older, maybe at that point when I met you. But it was like, you know, the two ramps in the backyard and that stuff, and Riesinger had that ramp up the street. That was
down by the college.
Yeah, and then and it was like, oh, okay, that's that, you know, and then it was like, yeah, everyone started being around. But like I always talk about like my version is looking at you guys, and you guys were always so like encouraging to me, but I was always such a little bitch. Like I didn't want to fall that bad. I didn't want to commit as much as you guys did. But it was so fun to be able to watch like true, you know, amazing skaters kind of happening right in front of me. But it was cool, man.
It's some other shit, man. Like it's you find that drive, like, you know, most people, it's like sports, you know, like that's what they want to do. And they're like, I'm going to give everything I got for this. And like skateboarding was just that thing. You know, it's like, I don't see myself doing anything. Like I literally, and I know it's early, like, you know, I started skating probably in like the end of 5th grade, like, you know, 6th grade, and was like, got good grades. You know, it's like I said, it's still early to be like, oh, everybody got good grades pretty much like in elementary school, early middle school. But like, I gave a fuck about school.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is all I want to do. I want to ride a skateboard. Like I could give a shit about doing anything else. Like I don't care about, like I'll do just enough work to pass. I don't care about getting straight A's. Like fuck that. That's not cool to me. Like this thing is cool. All I want to do is ride a skateboard. I would cut out all the go through Thrashers, and I would cut out all the skateboards they had for like I forget what they were. I'll just associate it with like CCS or something now. They would have like the little, you know, displays of Tony Hawks and like, you know, Cabs board and stuff. And I would cut them out and put them on little cardboard joints, like take them to school, and I'd be skating them on my books and stuff. And like
That's awesome.
Just making like weird fingerboards and stuff back then. So it was like the coolest shit ever. I could give a fuck about anything else, which was stupid. You know what I mean? Like,
why?
Well, I mean, just in the sense of like, there's nothing wrong with learning. Knowledge is like it's a good thing, and like you take knowledge from everything else, and like school really, like I'll get deep in conspiracy shit. Like fucking, it is what it is. I know what school is, and most people should know what school is. It's just like a training ground for you to just be a robot. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like take what knowledge they're giving you. Don't feed into the bullshit. Whatever, but. Again, like I gave a shit about any of that.
But I mean, like, but you figured out to do enough that you had to do to get it done or whatever, to get out there. And I think it's so amazing. I was actually, I'll bring this up in a second, because I was thinking of Templeton when you just said what you were saying, because he said this thing one time when we were over at BAM's, and I was like, oh shit. But I was going to say first, it's amazing that you knew what you loved that early. That's so fucking rare.
Yeah.
You know, like when you think about, when you're saying like, oh, I couldn't give a shit about school. It's like, well, yeah, but you were still getting it done or whatever, but you knew what you loved. And most people don't know that early. You know, they're not lucky enough to like figure that out that early.
Yeah. I mean, it was still, I guess I got my first sponsor, like board sponsor, and like 9th grade, I think I got sponsored by Toxic. So it was like I knew what I wanted to do, but at the same time, like, you know, everybody thinks they know what they want to do. Like, you know,
I want to be a fireman.
Yeah. You know, so it's like a whole new level of like, you know, I think I can do this, but like, you know, skateboarding early on, you could make a real living with it. And like for a while, like most people did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like as time goes on, it was like there was less of a living to be made at that stuff. So, we all still wanted to do it because it was just like the cool thing to do. And not just a cool thing to do, but it was like you said, like it's something that you want to do.
Yeah.
You find that love for it and that passion. So you continue doing that.
Yeah. No, it's funny though. I was thinking about the Templeton thing when you were talking about that, about like, there's nothing wrong with learning. He said this thing, because, he came around a lot, obviously, BAMs and all that in the early days when you guys, you were on, I guess, H Street and then Evil and stuff before Toy Machine, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But like, he was talking, he called it auto dictate or something. It was something like, I think that's the word, but it was like, you're just continue to learn yourself. You're not waiting on school to teach you, but you're out there seeking knowledge and understanding and learning that. And I remember him saying that. I was like, oh shit, I'm way more interested in that.
Yeah.
I'll do the school enough, but it sounds like skateboarding is that too. Like you're figuring out ways. And then you said like, it's a business. So you're teaching yourself the business of it too, as you're seeking that and as you're getting sponsors, as you're starting to make money and do that stuff. So you're always kind of seeking knowledge in that way. I mean, because it's to me, I kind of, a little bit of my story. I wasn't a big fan of school myself. And I ended up kicked out of a couple different ones, but it was just that thought of that basically I was interested in learning and wanting to do that, but not if you were telling me about the War of 1812, like I couldn't give a shit, And the funny part is now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, history is
fascinating. Yeah, exactly.
but back then it was like, no, I'm not interested. I'm so bored. I just want to go, do something else. But yeah, so, I think it's so cool, that that you kind of knew that, and then it led to something, and like you said, it could have not, and then it's a problem. But it did, and and you end up having some major success in it. We talk a little bit about the sponsor, like we said. Toxic was the first one. Was Fairman's in there too? But Toxic was like the big.
I had gotten on Fairman's, and they had given my sponsor me video to Toxic Skateboards.
Okay, because like Fairman's, and I mean, if people are listening or whatever, I mean, it's pretty well known, even though it was, a skate shop in Westchester, it got to be recognized by, in the major scene of skateboarding. But Dave Fairman's the man, dude, and just like gave people so many opportunities, to like that. I mean, how cool is that the local skate shop is like helping you get your sponsor tape to major sponsors? Like that's freaking amazing. And it's so funny when I think of Dave, because like I love Dave, but I used to give him so much shit. Like I used to just kind of go in there and annoy the living shit. I mean, that was like my mission in life when I was young, just annoy everybody as much as possible. But I would do that with Dave, because one time he said this thing about, like, I guess is it Stussy or Stussy? I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
But I said it the one way, and then he corrected me. So then I gave him shit and just kept saying it the way that he kept fucking with him. Like, oh, it's Stussy, guy, And he was like, get the fuck out of here. And he was like throwing me out of the shop. And I just think about, how much shit I was giving him, but how much he put up with from all like, the kids, and how good he was with kids in the skate world. Cause I think, like I said, like, yeah, I skateboarded. I wouldn't claim to be a skater. I did, and I loved the scene and the whole thing. That's like all my friends. But just it gave like a place for kids that didn't really have a spot. You know what I mean? Like that's what it always felt like to me. Like I grew up single mom, 4 kids, that kind of thing, and like, it's like people are having dinner and like my mom's at work. So I got to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do, and then like having a skate shop to just go down and hang out at. And then there's other kids there that are kind of in the same situation, whatever. And they're watching tapes and doing like, that was always cool to have that place, after school or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so rad. I mean, not to sound like some old fart, but I was like, I don't know how much that exists anymore, in terms of skate shops and people hanging like that, like we did in the.
Well, it's funny because I would see it different, because I mean I was constantly in there, so I mean it was a little different, but at the same time it was kind of the same. Like he didn't give a shit, but then you would hear things like, "All right, man, the meter's running on you." Like,
oh yeah,
like, the fuck, like ain't even nobody in here. Like I'm not scaring anybody off. Like what the fuck? Like, fuck is wrong with you? But then like other shops, like especially nowadays, like. And you know, when you start traveling, you go to like other shops and shit, and people are just like hanging out all day. Like that was the literal hangout, you know, like they would never kick people out. So be like, man, like fucking Fairman's is cool, but like fucking you can't even hang out there. Like it's like a skate shop. Like that's our local shop, and we gotta like, I've been in here a little bit too long. I gotta go.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a half an hour when my fucking, you know, I can
my time
reclock my time. Like the fuck, man.
No, that's hilarious. But I mean, yeah, I do have a different perspective. I wasn't there nearly as obviously as much as you, but whenever I would go, it would be like Jen was running it or something, or like there's a bunch of girls like you know, and that was the thing too. It was always like the hot babe girls that were
you always
girls.
had like the bangingest chickens, the best chicks there.
Yeah,
like, they were always so banging.
Yeah, and then you go in, you're like, all right, and he wouldn't be there. He would have left for the day, or something would happen, and you're like, it was just free for all at that point, you know. But
just like standing around like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, oh
you know, at the time for me, I was probably like 13, 14, just coming into being like, oh shit, like that girl's so hot, I'm gonna go in and hang out.
Go get that board that's way up there.
Exactly. I might try this on. I don't know, at some point.
Yeah.
But no, that's funny, man. So that's cool. Fairman, like, you know, kind of helped that happen, and then so Toxic was the first.
That was my first board sponsor. Yeah, and then after that, a bunch of my friends and I went to. They used to have a trade show down at their, I think it was Atlantic Skates, and they were like Toxic was, I guess, associated with them, and they would do a trade show there like every year. And a bunch of us went down there, and Fairman's was there. He had my like sponsor me tape, and we were talking to a couple different people, and I had seen like the dudes at the H Street booth, and I was like talking to them, and they're like, yeah, get us your tape, and you know, see what's up. I was like, and Dave was like kind of showing my tape to a few different people, and I'm like, yo, let me get that tape, and he's just like, all right, I want to show it to you. I'm like, let me get the fucking tape. Like, these dudes want to check it out. This is who I want to fucking ride for. Like, come on, man. Like, I want this shit right here, and fucking, I just gave it to them. They checked it out, and they're like, yeah, we'll see what's up. We'll talk to T-Mag and see how that goes. Like, we think you'd be a pretty good fit on the team. Like, fuck. Like, I was just like, that's where it all started. Like, I was like, holy shit. Like, this could actually be something. This is something that I've like always wanted. Like, this was, you know, this was like recreating thrashing at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
that's amazing.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
damn, that's amazing to think of that too, because, I mean, at the time, H Street was huge. I think of Matt Hensley and like those guys back then. Like, at that point, you were like,
yeah, it was different. Like those dudes had just left to create Plan B.
Yeah.
So it was different, but it was still like,
like
they still had an amazing team. Like they had so many good dudes, like Alfonso Rawls, Chad Vaught. Like they still had like sick dudes on the team.
Yeah.
So it was like to be a part of that was fucking really awesome.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think just for me, like as a spectator of it, it was like H Street was a name that was like, you know.
Yep.
And then they changed the name, I think, like kind of right away, right? Or like not too long.
Yeah, not too long after. Like that was wild.
Yeah.
You know, it was like I forget. I think it was Dan Wolf or somebody was, you know, just went to the shop, or we were skating, and I guess they had heard something, and they're like, oh, you don't ride for H Street no more. I'm like, the fuck, would I get kicked off? I'm like, I didn't even know about it. I got the boot. Like, what are you talking about? They're like, oh, you ride for Evil. I was like, the fuck is Evil?
Yeah.
Like, they changed the name. Like, okay. Like,
what was that? There was like some legal thing or something?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, because I like, I remember, and then it would always be, it's love backwards.
Yeah,
because it wasn't even evil with the I.
Yeah,
it was like
Evol.
Yeah. And then people were like, how do you say it?
Okay.
Yeah, but that's funny you brought up Dan Wolf. I whenever I think of him, I just think of that. I think it's presidents of the United States. Millions of peaches for me, or whatever. Him and his brother were singing this song over and over the one day, and then it got stuck in my head. And I remember we were driving. I don't know if we were like at St. Pete's Village or something, but it was like he just kept singing that out. I was like, that fucking song. But whenever I think of him, I think of that song.
Oh,
it's
shit.
hilarious. But I mean, speaking of that, like, Dan Wolf, Joe Hiddleston, Ryan G, Wildcat, like all those guys that took those photos and kind of, did video for that. Like, I just want to, like, what did that mean to you to have people that were also supporting you in that way? You know what I mean? Because, like, kind of, I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger or something said it, like, and it's funny to think of it, but like, he was like, people will be like, self-made millionaire, self-made success. Like, no one is a self-made success. Yeah. Like, you need help from others to do that. Like, when we talk about Fairman was shopping your Sponsor Me tape, and it's like the reason you had that tape is because of people like Hiddleston and Wolf and those guys. And like, I mean, just wanted to hear a little bit about that, like how you kind of came in with them and what that meant to you and your skateboarding and how
it means a lot. Like, it probably, like, I'll go back even farther, like somebody you don't know, like one of my homies that we used to just skate with, like just one of the homies, this guy, Chris Burgess, used to film, he had his parents were, a little bit more well off. They had, video cameras. Back in the day, if you had a video camera, your family was like, you got a little bit of bread. So he would always film us and stuff. And then that's how I got footage to get on Fairman's, it wasn't just like, oh, you're a local kid that can skate. Like, so that's kind of how that started. Damn. And he's actually, I think he films for like Red Bull now. So it's like crazy to think like all these dudes that I've filmed with have made something or went somewhere. Like, to have your homies come up with you, like it's pretty good. It's a lot of people can't say that. You end up meeting somebody like, oh, you can film with this guy and do this, but like cats that you grew up with coming along with you, it's like it goes a long way. It's like means shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think there's something to it because obviously, like, I moved on to do camera work and those things, but you realize like, just them knowing your skate style, knowing how you're gonna land, so like knowing where to be with what, you know what I mean? Like, they just probably have a rhythm with you way more.
Yeah, like they can picture the trick almost in their mind. So like, my thing is, I don't know exactly if this is how they would say it, but like to me, it was knowing somebody who could, maybe they couldn't do the trick, but they had an idea of how the trick should feel. So then when they're filming it, they want the person watching it to get the same emotion that like goes through the skater's mind when they're like doing the trick. So it's, it was really good for shit like that.
It's amazing because the one day I brought a camera out and skated around with you, and then I was like trying to follow, like, this dude is fast as shit. God damn it, like because I was trying to keep up, and then I was like, well, you know what? I'll just cut over this way, and so it loses you a little, but it gets you back at the one part, and it's like, damn. Because it's a whole different, like, like I said, I do camera work. I mean, I have a little production company that I do a bunch of stuff, and we just did stuff for like baseball thing, and it's like, okay, I know where to be for that, and you can kind of set up, but like on the skateboard, like I'm on a board too, so I'm like, this is a whole other way of filming. I've done stuff because I played ice hockey. I could like skate and film too, so I've filmed some like ice hockey stuff where I'm like, I can be skating with the gimbal and doing that, and then it's like, but then, all right, I've skateboarded a bit throughout life, and then I was like, but then it's like, damn, this is crazy. I gotta try to keep up with you, and then and which is crazy to try to even do, but then film and then try and think about being in the right spot, and so like hats off to all those guys for that, like you said, to be able to capture that and like evoke that emotion of what it is. Dude, that's why I've always like I said, I still will cruise around on the board from time to time just to try to be limber or whatever as I'm getting older, but was never a skater like that, but I always was a fan because the determination that it takes to land something, to like, if you're just going after a trick and then you're like watching you guys, like basically watching you and Bam growing up, and then obviously when Kerry came along, I still remember like the two of you being like, this dude's not even sponsored by anybody. Like at one point, because he was like a little older, like most of you guys had like you said, like in 9th grade, somebody's already talking to you, already saw your tape. I think Kerry was like probably 18 or something. Like
he was already out of school.
Yeah, he was like
working
old.
in the yogurt factory and shit.
And I just remember the reaction from you guys, like, I can't believe this dude doesn't have a sponsor, and he was ridiculous. And then I went up with you guys to like a little warehouse where he was skating at one point. Yeah. And just being like, God damn, but that's besides the point. I just thought of it, but just the determination, the commitment to doing it, watching that, like for me was huge because it's like, not to be corny like that, but it's such a life lesson.
Yeah.
You know, they talk about how like Seinfeld said that, where he's like, I'm not worried about those skateboard dudes. They'll be fine. You know, because he's like, they just have the determination to get up and land that thing again, go after it and go after it. And it's like, and there is a lot of that is like life, you know, like in that sense. Remember back in the day, those shirts like volleyball is life, you know. But there is some level of that that's for real, because that determination, like just watching you dudes get broke off like so bad, and then being like, no, I gotta land this right the fuck now, because you can also see like how close you are. And then, and you can see, I can see how your mind's working, and then like you're locked the fuck in, and it's gonna happen. Like, and you know that if you stop right then, like you're so fucking close to making it happen. You know, like you could see that, and just witnessing that, it was always so cool. And then, you know, in my little way, it was like, oh, I want to land this kickflip, you know, but y'all, you know, we're doing that shit down 20 steps, but like, it's just so rad to see that. And like you said, having, you know, the camera guys capture that, it came through, you know. And still to this day, I follow like all these skaters on Instagram because I just love it. I'm a huge fan of it, you know. And obviously it's a sport, but it's like an art, and it's all of it. It's an art form. It's a sport. It's amazing. And I've just, you know, I've always been just such a huge fan. So that's what's so rad about sitting down with you and hearing parts of your story and being like, the stuff I don't know, you know.
Dude, it's cool, man. Skateboarding is, I still associate so many different parts of life to skateboarding. Like everything. I'm like, oh, well, fucking skateboarding taught me this, and it taught me this. So when I'm doing this, I'm thinking the same way, because it teaches you early on, like, you know, your successes and your fails and your determination and everything, you know, like with everything, with literally everything. Like you learn how to not give up on relationships with people and like with everything, just because you're like, most people will quit right at the finish line. They're like, I can't take it. This is too stressful for me. And it's like, dude, if you fucking love anything, if you love someone, if you just have a love, period, and you give up on it, when you know that's what you want to do and that's what your heart and everything, your mind is like completely focused on, you have to see it through everything. And then you realize like, all right, you know, maybe this isn't for me, it is what it is. But like you follow through with it because that's just what you're about. You've realized that this is how you're taking it, you know, like.
Yeah. And even when you say, if you realize that it's not for you, that's still following through all the way to admit that hard shit to yourself, that like, damn, this wasn't right. You know, I went through something that was like,
you know,
that.
You could land your trick like, I fucking did this hard trick, you know, cool. I'm not doing that shit again. I'm going to refocus on like this other shit. Like, you know, this was too much on my body, or this was too much. Like, cool. But like, you still went through with it and learned your lesson from it. Whereas if like, if you would have quit, then you wouldn't know what's up. Like there's so many levels to it. You know what I mean? So you just like,
I mean, that's why so many times too, you'll see guys that like didn't make it happen on that day, board broke, leg broke, something happened. And then they're like, the year later, they won't go back. It's just in their head, like, I gotta fucking do this. And then but that's the greatest thrill and like the greatest like accomplishment is to watch that, like, you know, to watch them come back and do it. I can't even off the top of my head, but it was the one skater recently. It was this big ass gap, and he's got kids and stuff, and then he got hurt, and he came.
Chris Jocelyn.
Yeah, Jocelyn. That was it. And like, dude, I started tearing up. I was like, I don't even know the dude, and I'm like, oh, like I was just all amped, like oh, like so psyched for him, because to me, you know, it is that like where you're like, dude, that's just overcoming that adversity, and that's life, you know, and that is, you know, when you come back and land that thing, it's like, damn, he's got that in him. Like that dude doesn't quit, you know.
Yeah,
like,
dude, because the only time you ever fail at anything is when you don't continue doing what you're doing. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's just that didn't work out. Okay, that didn't work out. I'm gonna keep going, and then you figure out how it's gonna work. If you fucking stop doing it, then you failed. You literally failed yourself from continuing to do anything. You know what I mean? I think, well, I've read this one book, and, you the guy was referring back to like Thomas Edison, like, you know, he's like, oh, you failed this many times. He's like, no, I just found 10,000 different ways that didn't work. I didn't fail at anything.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
so,
and that's the best way to look at it for sure. I mean, especially because, that just keeps pushing you forward.
yeah.
You know, if you sit there and focus on the fails, it's like, then you did.
And it's stressful. Like, trust me, like there's days when you're like, I had the best week. I landed so many tricks. I did shit that I've never done before. And then the rest of the month, they're like, I can't land shit. Fuck this. Like, my life sucks.
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm going to fucking get back on it and I'm going to keep going. Like, because there's that love and that passion. And it's just, skateboarding is like nothing else. I don't care what anybody says. It is like nothing else. You can kickflip every single day, all day, for 20 years and still fuck that trick up. Like, I can't kickflip for shit today. Like,
yeah, it's wild how it is like that. You know, and like I said, I never skated on it, but I still get on a board just to see. And like, what'll happen for me too is if I don't touch a board for a few months, I'm like, dude, I'm a little top heavy. Something's weird here. Like, this doesn't feel the same at all. And I always thought that about skateboarding, you know, and obviously like with bike riding, to the level that, you know, like Mira and Rooftop and all those guys do it. It's different. But I mean, just simply riding a bike.
Yeah.
That's why that saying is, it's like but bike, because you could just get on the bike and ride after all this time not on it. Yep. Now, you can't get on it and do the crazy shit they do.
Yeah, exactly.
But just riding the thing, like, for me, a skateboard is like, no, I'll step on that board and be like, whoa, what? My balance is fucked, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because
just being able to manipulate this thing, you know, and it's different. Like, honestly, there'd be days, I would say within the past 5 years, let's say, I could be at work doing stuff, jumping around, crazy shit. Dudes at work like, what the fuck? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, how are you doing that shit? Like, I'm just like, yeah, this is what I do. Like, I've done this my whole life. I just jump around shit. Like, this is how I work. And then get on a skateboard and be like, I didn't skate all week. Like, fuck, this shit feels so weird. Like, why can't I fucking jump around the same? Because this thing takes so many different parts of your body. You're engaged everywhere, you know, whereas if like I could jump up onto the back of a truck, like no problem, come flying off the back of like this tractor trailer that we've just stacked all this shit on top of, like, you know, jumping down like 12 feet, like, no problem. But then like to land on a skateboard is like perfect. You know what I mean? Landing on the ground is one thing, but being able to land on this thing and balance without getting wheel bite and the board shooting out and like all this other thing, like there's so many different parts of the physics of it that are just, you're like a ninja.
Yeah.
Like, it's like this whole other
real.
thing, man. It's
crazy. I think I was saying it to you when we were snowboarding, but like the other thing about skating that's so wild too is it's like your board is kind of built to you.
Yeah.
So like, you know, because I don't really skate, I just roll around. It's like trucks are so tight. This thing is like, you know, and then I'll get on your board or Bam's board and be like, whoa, like it's just so loose because you have that, like that balance on that level. And it's like, and you roll away. And two, when you're skating, it does not look like the trucks are that loose because you're perfectly balanced and it looks smooth as hell. And then you realize like, dude, I would get on that thing. Like I would get wheel bite just standing on it because it's like, whoa. But it's wild to think, like how, like you said, like a ninja, because it is like so precise.
Yeah. But it's crazy because skateboarding, and we used to say this back in the day, because everybody would, you know, there wasn't so many skate companies back in the day. There was just like a handful. So you could have the same board as your homies, the exact same board. You know, I got these trucks, we got the same wheels, everything. And then you stand on your homie's board and you're like, your board feels so much better than mine. Like, we have the exact same board. Why does it feel different? And he'd say the same thing. You're like, I don't know. It's just you personalize it that much more. And then even when you try to personalize it to their board, it's like, it still doesn't feel the same. Like, what is it? Somehow everything's just kind of different. It's always going to be personalized to that person. It's like,
It's wild, like, because when you're saying that, I'm thinking about it. It's almost like a pair of shoes. Like my shoes are gonna wear out different than your shoes are gonna, because the way you put your weight,
body
the
is,
way,
yeah. You know, I might kickflip different from somebody else. You might, you know, nollie backside 180 different. Like everybody's different. That's why I always try to explain to people, you can give somebody the idea of how to do a trick. Like you can teach them how to do something, but your body is going to work different every time. You know, we all placed our feet different for kick flips. Every single person I skated with. Some people point it more, some people be more across the board.
Wow.
Like everybody's body works different. So that's why I say it's so much different. Like baseball, they have that same, you know, model where it's like, we'll teach you how to do this and you swing just like this and it's going to be this every time. That's not skateboarding. You know what I mean? You watch people skateboarding, like that dude kick flips like this, that dude heel flips like this. I mean, perfect example. You could watch Jeremy Ray and you watch how that dude would like do a frontside flip and you'd be like, his fucking toes are on the other side of the board. Like it looks like he's going to do a heel flip or something, and boom, like his feet blow up for a frontside kick flip.
Wow.
Everybody's body works different. So skateboarding is on this whole other level.
It's amazing, dude. Yeah, you're like blowing my mind, because obviously I'm just a fan of it, but hearing that, I'm like, oh my God. Cause I used to try to look at your foot or best, and you guys rode goofy and I rode regular, but I'll be like, oh, I guess I'm supposed to put it like this. And it's like, but that doesn't feel comfortable to me. But I never went to that next part of like, no, just do it the way that it feels right for you. Yeah. Same thing with playing a guitar. Like I'll have my thumb hanging over and they're like, it's supposed to be in the middle of the neck. I'm like, that feels weird as shit. Yeah. But then like you look at like the best guitar player and their thumbs all hanging over. You're like, what?
Sometimes you do have to, there is a basic kind of like, like certain tricks. I think it was when I learned like 360 ollie shoves or like big spins and stuff like that. For the most part, you want to put your back foot in the corner because you want to be able to get it to spin around. Yeah. But a lot of times it's going to flip over on you if you have it so far in the corner. Like when you start spinning it, it wants to just flip on you. So you have it a little bit towards the middle of your tail, it's going to stay level. So these are things you're like, it doesn't feel comfortable, so I'm just not going to do it, or I'm going to learn it this way. And you either kind of figure it out, or you just go, all right, I have to adjust the way I do this so if I get used to that and make it comfortable. You know, like it's like figuring those like pieces of the puzzle to make your style kind of fit the physics of how it's kind of supposed to work. But then again, some people just can do shit that doesn't make sense at all. Yeah.
Dude, it's so rad hearing you talk about it, just because, like, obviously, for you to get to the level that you got, it's not like you can't not be passionate and not be obsessed with it and think about like, but just to hear that, like I said, I've always just been a fan, and to understand it more on that level, hearing from you is pretty awesome to hear that, because it's incredible how much you give to it, but how much skateboarding has given you in your life too. Yeah. Like you said, it's kind of a mutual relationship in that way, or whatever. And it, it just, presents so much. After you went from H Street to Evil, then you went to Toy Machine. Yeah. And is that like, cause when I think about it, with Bam, like, were you able, like, was it Fairman, or were you able to help him kind of get recognized then? Because we were obviously like 5 years younger than you are. Like, because I know he was on a lot of the similar sponsors that you were on. Like he did the Evil thing. Evil was giving him boards or whatever at some point.
Yeah, well, like he so we used to go to Cheapskates a lot, and he got sponsored by Cheapskates, and I think they helped him get on Pal Peralta.
Oh, okay.
He was like flow for them. I forget who used to go up there that actually rode for them. So like he would get flow from them like a little bit. And then once I got on H Street, we Tony Mag and them were up at Woodward.
Oh yeah.
Bam came up there with me, and they're like, dude, this little kid rips. Like, he fucking got those blunts and shit. Like, he's, and those 1 foots. Like, he's pretty sick,
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, man, fucking hook my man up. Like, he was good.
Oh, okay,
like,
yeah.
I tried to always bring him with me. That's what you do. Like, you try to get your homies. Everybody tries to get their homies hooked up, especially if they're good enough. Like, so.
Yeah, and dude, that's another part of why skateboarding is so rad. like why I loved it too, just because like I said, like being a kid that kind of just felt on the outskirt a little bit, just a lot of you realize as you get older, a lot of people felt different or all that other kind of stuff. But for me at the time, that like skateboarding, like no matter how good or not good, if you just stepped on the board, like dudes will be like, yo, you got this, hell yeah, and they're psyched for you, and like there's a way that you can like see like, oh, this kid's just trying to learn like a shove it, like, or this kid's just trying to learn an ollie, or this kid's just trying to learn a kickflip. And so everyone knows what they're trying right there.
Yeah.
And then they're psyched for them when they land it. Like, that is the raddest
Yeah,
thing.
because
like,
we were all there at one point,
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah. And
like, I want you to land this trick. I want you to feel what we felt. Like, it's just, and I see the determination.
Yeah.
Like,
But that's what's so cool about the community. And obviously there's other... I was talking to Johnny about like you go down to Love, and there was times when you weren't welcome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But for me, I was always so scared. I was like, I don't even want to go because there's people, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna try like a board slide on this thing right now because somebody's gonna kick my ass if I go the wrong way or whatever. So I would just kind of hang back and watch you guys a lot, But yeah, no, I mean, but for the most part, the community is just so supportive of that, and that's what's really cool is to see that. I think he brought up a lot of memories, just like Phil with the sticker car taking us up to Cheapskates, and I remember just getting on there and like because I wrote a little bit of like mini ramp stuff because of Bam's backyard, and they had like the strict. Like you got to wear every pad, and I remember back in the day, it was like this ain't cool, like to wear a pad, And now, like when we went snowboarding, I got a helmet on and shit. I'm like, I should have been wearing. I got like so many concussions. Probably from some of the Jackass and CKY and all that stuff. There's some concussions from those years, but now when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, what the fuck's wrong with wearing the pad?
Yeah.
But it was always like kind of looked at like.
You reach a point it feels restricting to a degree. Because if you have it on, you feel like you're constantly going to, if you're actually don't have anything on, you're forced to land the trick. Like, I'm going to get fucked up if I don't do this. But if I have the pads on, then like I can bail, and like if I don't feel 100% comfortable, so it can go either way.
Yeah, it's funny because you reach your point. I never reached that point, but it was it's funny, man, just to think about those times, and I always have some good memories of just getting in that yellow banana boat like sticker car and go find a ramp and go.
Dude, that thing would be full of kids.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. Phil just kind of doing it.
You got to give a big up to Phil. Like he's a big reason why a lot of people like. Not even made it as far as we did, but just like he created so many good memories. Yeah. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, that's all you have is like your memories. And like he did something for a community of kids that was like Yeah, it's huge, man. Yeah, I just saw him the other night. We were over at the CKY show. And it was good to see him. And that's what's up.
Yeah, just both of them, Abe and Phil, just like letting us crash the house and just do all the nonsense that we did. Just it's so cool. But that's funny because I think about how that first Land Speed CKY Can't Kill Yourself video was basically you, Bam, Carrie, and all your skate parts. There's like so much on there, and then some of the randomness of like. Bam smashing a can over my head or whatever while I'm sleeping or whatever he was doing, that kind of those random things. And then like, I think at that time it was like, let's run to the grocery store and knock all this shit off the shelf. Like I did that, but all those little bits ended up being that first Can't Kill Yourself CKY video.
Yeah, that was the jump off.
Yeah. I was like back in the day when your hair was like out the hair.
Yeah, when I actually had hair.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. And so then at that point, like, because I have memories of that, like where with Toy Machine, like when Templeton and Jamie Thomas would come and kind of that was like the beginning of Zero, right? Like it was happening right then. Like, so you skated for them for a while and then you went over to
Baker Skateboards,
And was it piss drunks or something at one point, or what was? Is that what happened? What was that? A separation of Baker and
No, that was just the crew.
the crew.
Yeah,
in
it's just
it.
like
Yeah.
just dudes just would get pissed drunk, and it was just like the name of the crew. I mean, that's how Baker started. It was like the Baker Boys, and because we were always like smoking and just like blazing up.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
it was just kind of like they just took that idea and like went with it. You know what I mean? And just like, we're gonna start a company, and it's gonna be called Baker Boys or Baker Bootleg. Yeah. And then like the crew that emerged from that was just like, it's the piss drunks, because motherfuckers is always piss drunk.
I can relate. I spent a lot of those years in that same state.
Yeah, because at that point it was like, it didn't take much to live like the rock star life. You know what I mean? Because you're your early 20s, like, fuck man, like you're just out living. So it's like, oh, we can get drunk all the time. Like, I don't got shit to do. Like I would get paid to like, and even though it wasn't that much money, it's like I get paid to just fucking just be out living. Like, we're just gonna party all the time.
Yeah, it's funny because you're right. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money. But when you're 20, you seem rich compared to everybody else.
Yeah. You get $2,000 a month. You're like, what? It's $2,000 a month. And you start doing the math. You're like, this is like a fucking minimum wage. Like, what the fuck? I can work all month for this, but I don't gotta work. I can get drunk all day and just do some dumb shit and just like go land a couple tricks. Like, so it's like, it's not a whole lot of money, but it's enough to keep you and doing what you want to do. Yeah, and make those memories.
And arguably exactly, the memories, because that is the best part of all that. I think about that too. At times when you're like, for me, I went heavy into the drinking and drug stuff, and then got sober, but yeah, people will be like, oh, if you invested this money here, I was like, I invested in having a fucking great time. and the memories of all that are amazing, and I don't regret it one bit. But it was a time where you could just kind of fuck off and do whatever, and I mean, especially now, we both got kids, and you're like a kid, and can't do that now. That won't look the same. People might start looking at you funny if you're living like that now. But that was the time to do it for sure.
Shit, I can remember. So there was a time like I was just left my ex's house. It was like early morning. Stopped over at my friend's house, and smoked a joint with him, like whatever. It was like early morning, and then she like called me up like, yo, you gotta take no one over to floor hockey. I'm like, what? Like, oops. Fuck, man. Like, I'm fucking like take him over there, and I'm like stinking of herb, like, because you smoke a joint, the shit's all over you, fucking just permeating. Yeah. And I'm like walking in the YMCA, just like stinking of this shit, and I'm just like, fuck, man. Like, all these parents are probably looking at me like scumbag. So it's like, it's not the same. Yeah. It's definitely not the same, and it's not like like it's just smoking. Like, it's not like you can't function the same as like walking in there like a drunk, like, go ahead and get some, young man. Kick his ass.
Yeah, there's a big difference in the way you act.
But it's still like not quite accepted in the sense of like, like this motherfucker's partying at like fucking 10 o'clock in the morning. Type shit. Like,
You're like, no, but listen, I did not know I was supposed to.
I wasn't supposed to be here doing this. Like, I mean, I want to be here, but not in this aspect.
Yeah, I thought she was doing it. And then, no, but
changed.
But it is funny, man. You know what's funny when I think of the weed thing? Because when I first got sober, I was, in a program, and I went in there and I was still smoking weed, because I went from hard drugs to be like, all right, I'm going to stop doing the hard drugs, and then I'm going to stop drinking. And then I was like, but I'm not giving up the weed thing yet. So like in the very beginning, I was going to like some of the meetings and just smoking weed. And then this old head was like, he sat right next to me. He's like, maybe if you change your cologne, you might learn something. And I was like, damn. I was like, all right, I guess it was like Pigpen of fucking just weed around me. Like, it was funny because one time I worked on George Lopez's show, and Snoop Dogg was like a guest on it. And he came in, dude, it was like a mile before he got there. He smelled the weed, and you're like, oh, he's here. Yeah, all right. Yeah. But it is funny. But nowadays, everybody got those vape things you don't even know. It hits you before they.
If you know, you're kind of like, damn, it smell like weed in here, but I don't see smoke. Like,
yeah. It's not as harsh.
Yeah.
But no, that's funny, man. So, yeah, it's good, man. A lot of good memories of those times, and and it's good to see, people doing good and just kind of still doing it. You're still out there ripping. You were just skating right before you got here.
Yeah. Went up to Wawa Park, just hit it up for a little bit. Weather's getting a little better, so got to get out and start skating. I'm a little upset though. Like, it's the first time in I couldn't tell you how many years, probably my whole life actually. It was last week when it was like 70 degrees. It was, we was working at the shop that we're doing all our art stuff, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, man, it's so nice. This weather's so great," and I'm like, I'm kind of not feeling it. Like, I need a couple more snowboarding days. Like, and I'm like the first one. I'm like, it's 60 degrees. Let's go skating. Like, the only reason I deal with cold weather is because of snowboarding. Like, but for some reason, like this year, I've just been like, man, I need some more snowboarding days. Like, it hit me this year. Like, I was like feeling it a little bit more. Like, I just got back into it like 5 years ago. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that's funny because the day we went, it was like it had rained and it kind of got a little mushy out there.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I've been trying to get on what you and Johnny are doing throughout the winter because he get the pass to the mountain, and I'm like, I meant to get out there more this year, didn't much, and same thing. Then I'm like, oh, get this winter out of here. But if you get into that mindset of like psyched that it's here because you get to go snowboard, it makes it a whole different thing. It really does.
Yeah, it's like, and snowboarding is like the closest thing to skateboarding at this point. Like, even like just period. It's just one of those things where you kind of see the love for it. You just, like, watch these videos and you see people doing it the exact same way. They treat it like, this is what I love to do. This has taught me how to do this. This is my mentality for it. So it's like really like, it's cool to see people take something that's so closely associated and like have that same mentality for it. Like, it's pretty sick.
Well, it's funny because I feel like in our lifetime is when snowboarding happened, like when it came about. Because like when we were young, it was like somebody would like staple like inner tubes to a skateboard and like try and wax it up to get down across the street or whatever. Like, and then it kind of got to like, I remember like snowboards just had like the nose and no tail.
A little bit. Like when I first started getting into snowboarding, they were definitely more directional. And even like the few years that I did it before I like really focused on skating, it was way different than it is now. It's extremely personalized. The boards have changed. Everything is, so we've definitely seen the progression for sure. Like,
because you were telling me about all that the camber and all that, how this different thing works in that way. I'm like, oh man.
It still trips me out. Like, I'm like, I can't believe that you can change everything so like the littlest things. Like, oh, my bindings do this, and they've got canting here, and this board fucking has this camber and flat fucking rocker. Like, what the fuck is all this?
But that's funny because it is just like you're saying, like skateboarding, like you personalize that board so much to what it is. And obviously that goes on with surfing. Like I tried to kind of learn that a little bit when I was living out in California. And, just getting on like one of those like longboard, deals. But it's so different than skating. Like, I'm like, I could like balance on a board. And then you like add this ocean mix to it. You're like, what the fuck? Like trying to learn how to read the ocean. Did you surf at all? Like
never.
No. Yeah. And because it was like, it's like that where it was like, all right, well, I mean, I can stand on the board, but I don't know where the waves breaking, and I don't know what this is. How's that? And then it's like it's never even close to the same when you think
nothing's like the water just is what it is. So you kind of like it's
like
different
when you're on the mountain and it's going to be the same jump next time. Like like the snow might have moved a little bit, but not much. But then on a wave, it's like what the hell? It's completely different every time. I found it super challenging, but the same kind of thing of like, damn, because getting out in the water like that is like, yo, I'm the smallest little nothing in this world.
It's really humbling. I can imagine.
But it's cool, man. It's awesome too that it kind of translates to that, and that and that you're still doing it like at a high level. Like I said, all of a sudden I leave and you guys are doing wall rides.
It's fun, man. It's different though. Like the whole idea of not being able to kick out is something, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if you go off and you jump down some stairs, you're like, oh, I didn't ollie right, kick it out. You know, you go off a jump on a snowboard and you're just like,
whoop.
you just gotta hope you can like just pull it in and like ride away from it.
that flapping like
you know, you hit a rail and you're like, oh, I'm gonna stick or it's gonna slide out. Like just push it away. Like no, you're in it.
It is funny because I noticed that for me, like I don't do anything too crazy. I'll do little jumps or something, and then Johnny got me trying some rail stuff a little bit last year, and like it is that like you come off and you know right away like, oh I'm fucked. You know, and then you're like, but there's nothing I can do besides try to not fall too bad. Yeah. You know, it's wild.
Yeah, man, I've seen my son go off jumps and he'll hit it wrong and he's like completely sideways. And then somehow he's like pulls his body back and he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, how did you do that? Like, I don't know. I wasn't going to fall. Like, it was either eat shit or try to ride away. And somehow he pulled it back.
I was like, that's the youth. That's the youth right there. Is that flexibility of figuring that out in the midair. Yeah. My stiff ass old body's like, well, we're done for. But no, that's cool, man. Dude, it's been awesome just sitting here reminiscing, hearing a little bit about all that stuff. Because I mean, like I said, I from a distance, I knew a lot of the similar story, but then to hear like kind of, all right, you came up through that, and then seeing that stuff, and just you know, not that I ever, but just to really hear your passion for what it is amazing, and that you still have it, you know, like that.
Man, I don't think it's something I'll.
It can't. It obviously can't go away. Like,
It's that thing like. You constantly you're driving around, you see something, you're like, oh, that trick would be sick there. Like, you just look at things differently. You know, people will look at you like, what the hell are you looking at? You're like, I can't really explain it.
Yeah. No, it's funny because I mean, like, because I didn't have the mindset for that. Like, I do art in all different other ways. But just to see you guys, like, because I'd be with you guys, and when that would happen, I would, same thing, I'd be like, I didn't look at that like that, you know, like, but they're like, damn, I could do this down there. And you're like, how do you already know that? And then you come back and then you guys are doing it. And you're like, damn, okay, that whole fucking, you know, gap that they're doing right there. And then the coolest part about skateboarding to me is that like that little rock gap or that little like, you know, street area or whatever, that the gap thing like is just nothing, right? Like, like you don't, like any other person walks right by that. And then to me, then when you do like whatever trick, if it's a, you know, tray flip, whatever it is over that, then that just becomes a space now. Like that's why I love skateboarding in that sense of now that's a place that happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that went down there, and it is like an art in a sense of it's almost like a painting, like, and however cheesy and corny that sounds, like whatever. It's just the way I saw it like that is like, damn, that became that now. Yeah. And it wasn't that before. It was just a little rock gap thing that nobody thought about. And now it's the spot that you did that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is it just opens the door. You know, whatever you do, then it gives somebody, the next person, like, oh, I could probably do that there. Like, this is how it works. Like if one person ollies it, and literally it can change everything. Like, oh, next person does kickflip. Next person ollie flips it, and that's switch like, flips it.
To me, just, in my head, always with you, and I don't know if you mind me bringing it, but it's like the love found is like, I mean, and I'm sure everyone says that for you a lot, but it's like, dude, when you ollied that thing, it was like, what the fuck, that can happen, you know? And then it's like, and then like you said, then it goes to this next level. And but it is amazing how that happened, because I think it gives people the confidence to think like, oh, okay. I could try that. Yeah. You know, that's possible.
Absolutely.
You know, and then that's amazing to have that. But dude, I love skateboarding too. Obviously not to the level that you do, but I'm a huge fan of it, and I love always kind of seeing what you guys are doing, and just to see you back out there, you know, like, or me came back out and saw you and just see you cruising and doing your thing and still fucking ripping for real. Like I said, so fast. I'm like, oh shit, I can't even catch him. But I'm gonna try to get some of this on camera. But yeah, no, it's rad, man. So thanks for sitting down and doing this.
Hell yeah, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
I appreciate you.
The Bathroom Break podcast is brought to you by Greengate Entertainment.